I believe that after watching this particular episode of Attack on Titan, everyone has a lot more respect for Armin, and for me in particular, he is MVP in this episode. How's it going, guys? So this is my episode review of Attack on Titan episode 10. We're about a month away from season 2, and I really can't wait till season 2 comes out, but right now we're talking about episode 10, and that speech that Armin gave in this episode was absolutely amazing, so heartfelt and so powerful, and it's actually very, very moving, and I love the emotion that the voice actors were able to give in this scene. And of course I'm talking about the sub. I'm watching the sub right now in case any of you were curious, but still, like, the voice actors do a very good job, and especially the voice actor for Armin, like, just the emotion and just the pleas in that speech were just so convincing and powerful, and I'm just amazed at what transpired, you know, in this episode. When you're watching it for the first time, you're just like, oh my god, this is amazing. So I just want to backtrack real quick, start at the very beginning and work my way towards that speech, because in the very beginning we're not actually with Eren, Mikasa, and Armin. Around the same time that they're about to be fired with the cannon, we're actually with the other recruits. We're with Sasha, we're with Marco, and we even get to see Jean, Reiner, Annie, and Bertolt. So we get to see, you know, how a lot of the recruits and a lot of the people within the military are handling, you know, the after effects of going out and fighting the Titans. A lot of PTSD is happening with a lot of people. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of panic, and some people can't deal with the fact that they watched a lot of their friends and possible loved ones die at the hands of these Titans. So we get to see a lot of people panicking. Some people are trying to stay optimistic. You know, Marco is among the group trying to look at every recruit and saying, like, don't worry, it's not that bad. We're going to get through this. Everything's going to be okay. And then we actually pan over to Jean, where in his head he's talking about how no one really knows the situation that's going on right now, and they have no idea about Eren. Like, that's a top secret thing that they have to keep quiet about. Otherwise, it will just produce mass panic among everyone there, because no one has ever heard of a person, you know, turning into a Titan. No one has ever seen that before, and people were starting to realize that one of the people that they've come close with was actually a Titan all along. There'd be mass hysteria and there'd be no containing that. But it's at this point that the cannon fires and people are, like, caught off guard by this. They're basically, like, looking off in the distance like, what was that? And the reason that this is so off guard for a lot of these people is because it fired inside the wall, and people are starting to speculate. It's like, did a Titan get in? Usually cannons aren't supposed to fire, they're supposed to fire outside the wall, not inside the wall. So we see Reiner, Bertolt, Annie, and Jean, or Jean, I always pronounce his name wrong, forgive me on that, but we see those 4 characters, you know, use their 3D maneuver gear to rush over to the scene of the crime to see what the hell was going on, why was the cannon fired, and what is in this smoke cloud. And as soon as it dissipates, everyone gets to see the Titan form that Eren has summoned that protected him, Mikasa, and Armin from the cannon fire, and everyone else is just left in shock. So the military has no idea what to do right now. They're basically just on standby mode right now, and as we get to see once we go into the cloud of smoke, getting to see this Eren Titan form, how it just encased Armin and Mikasa, protected them from the cannon fire within the rib cage, and even Armin points out it's like it protected everything within there, even the flowers that were on the ground. And then we actually get to see how Eren gets out of this form. You know, he's actually in the nape of the neck, which has been mentioned throughout this series, but that seems to be where he is stored within the Titan when he transforms into this, and that could be a hint at, you know, how the Titans work, and it could actually foreshadow future events to what we learn more about the Titans. But he escapes the nape of the neck of the Titan, and he comes down within the puff of smoke. It's actually guarding them, so no one actually knows what they are doing within here. And this is when Eren gets to them and saying, like, all right, we gotta come up with a plan. And Eren actually comes up with 2 plans in his mind. And the first plan is where he escapes alone and he leaves Mikasa and Armin behind, so that way they're not subjugated to, you know, they're not viewed as culprits or conspirators against, you know, the military, the human race, and they can be spared while he's on the run. He goes back to the basement and he finds out the secrets within the basement. So that's the first plan that he comes up with. But Armin right now is panicking because right now he feels very pathetic. He feels like a loser. He feels like he can't really contribute much to the group, and he's just always that coward within the group trying to, you know, stay up to date with Eren and Mikasa. He's always being left behind, and there's some flashbacks within the episode that kind of portray that. But this is when Eren actually turns to Armin and says, all right, I do have another plan, but it's all up to you. And this is when Armin's shocked, and when he hears the plan, it's like he's putting a lot of faith in Armin, because the plan is to have Armin convince the entire military, everyone that's surrounding them, that Eren is not a threat, that Eren's Titan form could be utilized for the military and actually fight against the Titans. And Armin is starting to wonder, why is it that you're actually putting all this on my shoulders? What makes me so special about this? And Eren gives like a great point to saying, like, you are smart, you work very well under pressure, and you always come up with the right solutions. And it even flashed back to episode 1 when, you know, Hannes was actually told by Armin to go rescue Eren and Mikasa when they went towards their house to go rescue Eren's mom. So if it wasn't for Armin, they actually might have died, and they probably wouldn't even have made it this far within the story. So that just shows that Armin is a very quick thinker when it comes to certain situations. So Armin actually takes this upon himself. He rushes out of the smoke, he removes his 3D maneuver gear, and he actually just like puts himself in front of the military and gives this epic speech. Like, it's so good, basically saying how like we're not a threat, you can take us, we're here to work with you, we're here to work with the human race, we're not enemies. And he basically is telling them, it's like, we can utilize this power to fight against these titans. The point he makes in this part is really good too, when he actually gets a lot of people coming towards his side saying like, Eren has fought alongside you ever since we started in the cadets 3 years ago. He has worked alongside you, he wants to kill titans, he hates titans as much as anyone else. And this is when a lot of people starting to shift in their mindset and getting to think, well, maybe we can actually utilize this and actually spin the tide of the war against these titans. But the general just isn't having it at this point, and he's like, you guys are lying, you guys are traitors, and we're gonna just extinguish you right here and there. But this is when Armin looks back at Eren and is like, what should I do? And he just gives him a nod, and this is when Armin just gives that salute. And this is like the epic part of the speech where he starts screaming at him, just basically saying like, I am willing to give my life for humanity, and to die in this way would be an honor and stuff. And he's just showing how committed he is to the cause of the war that they're fighting against these titans. But even with that, the general still isn't having it. He's about to basically give the signal to fire the cannon upon them and just extinguish them right then and there. But then this is when the man of the hour appears. This is when Pixis appears, and he's just like cool, calm, and collected. He knows exactly what's going on with the situation. He informs everyone that yes, he knows what's going on, and I think it's up to everyone's best interest to hear what Armin, Eren, and Mikasa have to say. And it's nice to see that there's actually a cool, level-headed person entering the situation and actually, dispelling all of the fear, all of the panic, and just looking at it with a level, cool head, and just making sure that everyone is not going to make a decision that they regret later on. So Pixis takes Eren, Mikasa, and Armin up to the top of the wall, and this is when he starts to, listen to their story, get into all the information that he needs to hear from them, and then he actually, once he learns that, Eren has his Titan form, and all the things that they can do, and the plan that they have set in motion, and the plan that they actually come up with is that if Eren is willing to, fight against, with humanity against the Titans, then what they can do is, with Eren's Titan power, the plan would be to take that large boulder in the middle of town, and actually use that to block the gigantic hole within the wall to stop the titans from coming in, and then they can actually exterminate all of the titans within the city, and thus restoring Trost District to a secure location, and thus having their first victory against the titans. And I really like this part too, because Pixis asks Eren the question, can you do this? And Eren kind of, he doesn't really know a lot about his powers, and he's very hesitant to basically give a right answer right now. So he's like, I am really unsure. I can't control this power to the fullest extent. And Pixis understands that completely, and he goes, I understand what you're saying. I asked you the wrong question. And then he asks him the right question by saying, will you do this? And so he actually looks at Eren, and then he actually slightly looks over Eren, over his shoulder, and this is when Eren looks back and sees the rest of humanity, the rest of the walls that haven't been, taken over by the Titans yet. And this is at that moment that Eren realizes that all of these lives behind me are in my hands right now. If I can't secure the wall, if I can't block this hole, everyone behind me, every single person a part of the human population is going to die because of me, because I was unable to do this. And it's at that moment that Eren actually, comes to the realization that yes, he will do it. He doesn't know if he can do it, but he will do it if it means saving the human race from extinction from these titans. And I absolutely love that moment and that realization, and just the questions that Pixis asks him. He's a very cool character, very level-headed, and I like that he was able to, get Eren to think of the situation and then to have him come up with the answer that Eren definitely wanted to give, but it made him more confident and, willing to participate with this newfound power that he possesses. But that's where our episode ends. I actually really like this episode. It's really contained because it only happens within this one section, and it doesn't really move around to a lot of locations. But I love the tense moments. I love how level-headed Pixis is in his introduction, to our main characters, and seeing that he's willing to work with Eren, Mikasa, and Armin on this plan to restore Trost District by blocking the hole and making sure that this is our first actual victory against the Titans. So, and I want to hear from you all down in the comments. When you guys were watching this episode, what were your overall thoughts and emotions going on when you heard him delivering the speech, seeing how much energy and how much emotion that Armin was putting into this, and just how much of an MVP he was during this episode? And what were your overall thoughts? You know, were they changed after seeing Armin in this light, you know, being able to actually stand up for his friends and in front of the military and deliver such an epic speech? So leave your thoughts in the comments below. And again, I am doing reviews on all of Attack on Titan Season 1 because in exactly 1 month, in April 1st, we're having Attack on Titan Season 2 air, and I really can't wait till that comes around. So I'm really excited to get to the rest of the episodes within the season, and once I'm caught up, just diving right head first into Season 2 and to see what awesome content that we're going to be getting this second season. So again, that I'm reviewing all of the seasons, so if you want to catch all of that, you can subscribe to my channel, leave comments down below, and until my next episode review, which will be on episode 11, I'll talk with you guys then. Alright guys, see you later.